Welcome to a stationary video of injecting atmospheric CO2 into a hydroponic room. In this particular scenario, this is designed around on Vulcan. The filtration unit has a IC chip, which is programmed to control the flow of gas into the room, and it does a number of things. One, it only brings in gas during the night. So only when the temperature is slowest around 127 Celsius or below, it will run. It also uses the output vent to check both the pressure and temperature of the room and also CO2 content. So if the CO2 content is below a user threshold, in this case it's 5% in this code, and the room is below 30 Celsius and the pressure is below 100 kilopascals, it will inject. Typically, plants consume CO2 at a reasonably low rate that even though you're injecting 127 Celsius CO2, it's in a small amount in a large room, and the hydroponic built-in cooling system will take care of that excess heat being brought into the room. It's a pretty simplistic system, so let's look at the code. And as always, the code is in a link in the description, which point to GitHub, which I can update. So we have the name of the script. This is the Vulcan direct CO2 injection. It injects night CO2 into an early game hydroponic room. And what I mean by early game is that in a later game, you typically would have a large quantity of pre-cooled CO2 available, and that can be directly brought into a hydroponic environment or other uses without heating it up. This leverages the existing hydroponic room cooling because effectively we're putting in a pretty low volume, and it avoids over temperature pressure conditions with safety checks. We have some user-defined values. The target CO2 percentage is 5%. So effectively, if all the other rules pass, if it's below 5%, it injects CO2. If it's above, it doesn't. The maximum room pressure, this is to keep it within the pressure range for potatoes. If the room is at 100 kilopascals or higher, it will not inject. Typically, this would mean that your system for extracting O2 from the room is not working. This is the maximum room temperature. It will not inject if the room is at 30 or higher. This is the maximum outdoor world temperature. If it's middle of the day, you don't want to be injecting that super hot gas, so at night it will run. Storms, it's a bit higher during storms, so also will not inject during storms. And you can always change the percentage to a higher percentage to give you a larger buffer time. And once again, this is for an early scenario where you don't have, thousands of plants or anything. I have my state registers. Carbon dioxide is too high. The room pressure is too high. World temperature is too high. As typical, very beginning, disable the filtration. We have our main loop. Compute the states. So read the carbon dioxide on the output, which is effectively what's in the room. And then we set this value too high if it exceeds our value. So it's greater than the value, it's too high. We grab the pressure output, same way. If it's greater than the max room pressure, then we set the value true. Check the temperature of the input, which is connected to the outside of the building. And if it exceeds the maximum temperature outside, it sets the value. The rules are pretty simple. It really doesn't matter what order the rules are in. So if the carbon dioxide in the room is too high, turn it off. Now 5% is kind of low. You may want to turn that up, but that's what I'm using. If the pressure is too high, turn it off. If the world temperature outside, like during the day, turn it off for sure. If all these rules, none of them trigger, turn on injection and repeat. And this is a little routine for turning off injection. We set the mode 0 and repeat. And that's it. A quick little simple script. Very useful for Vulcan scenarios to avoid having to manually drive it or avoiding causing a problem where you'll damage your hydroponics. Until next time, see ya.